Now, just like the apple that we were working with before, except something just a little bit darker here. Of course, the local color of this little cup is green, okay? So I'm using some blue-green, you know, for the part of the cup away from the light. Now, this cup is very similar to the apple in that there's dark on here on the left side, and there's going to be lighter green on the right side. But take a look at what's happening on the inside of the cup. Right now, it's just blank. When we look over here at our example, we can see that it's kind of the opposite. So instead of the dark being on the left on the inside, it's on the right. And so I can just go ahead and put that dark stuff right in there. Okay, so we've got things kind of patched in for that little cup, okay? I'm gonna let that go for a second. It's, at this point, it's wet, kind of greasy. It's kind of hard to manage. So I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to start working on my pear. Now the pear, it does have yellow, so I'm gonna put even more yellow out here. I try to keep the yellow to a minimum, guys. Try to have very few yellow things, but man, we go through a lot of yellow here in the first part of the semester. Okay. Now that color, it's yellow, but it's a more natural yellow. And so I'm going to use some of the yellow ochre color. That's that brown mustard kind of color. And so at this point, as you can tell, you know, it's pretty much the same as when we were working with analogous colors, because I haven't introduced any complementary colors yet. So let's see. Yeah. Okay, so it's somewhat lighter on the left side and somewhat darker on the right side, but it needs more work. We did a little bit better job. I'm a bit happier with the cup. So let's think about this cup. Okay, green cup. I'm fairly happy with this. I'm going to put off working on the cloth for just a little bit more. I wanted to give you like 2 different versions to work with before I got things too complicated. So the cup is green, and it's green. We could even get kind of picky and say it's kind of a yellow green as opposed to grass green. And if we look straight across the color wheel, we're going to come up with red violet, okay? And a good red violet is this alizarin crimson. So let's see what we can do. I want to make sure that I have, you know, a really dark color. I don't want to put this red color in with this yellow green, because yellow and red make orange, and there's no orange on that cup. So I'm going to start here in this blue green kind of place, and I'm going to just put some over here on this side. Let's see if I can. Okay, so I've got this kind of blue-green color. And now, alizarin crimson is like really, really strong. It's like jalapeno peppers, you know, in your chili. You don't want to necessarily feed that to your 5-year-old nephew, right? Or maybe you do, but you're mean. But let's try to be careful with this. So I'm putting this color in, and just like we did with our color chart, what you want to see is that it's basically a green color. Now, it's a little hard to see. Can you see how red this looks? Yeah, it's too red, okay? So I need to do something to counteract that. And I need to put green in it in some fashion, but I need to make it like darker. So what I'm gonna do, in the same way that I put blue over here on this side to make it look darker, I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm gonna put blue in it. And what I've come up with something is almost black, okay? And so I'm gonna see what's gonna happen if I can use this. So I'm gonna use just a little bit of it. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna be great. So. So in the same way that we did on our color charts, using complementary colors to make things look darker, not using black, I'm doing the same thing here, okay? See how nice and dark that came out? Okay. Oh, there was another one I was going to show. Get rid of this before I mess it up. It's a nice example. I'm just going to take my time here and try to do a nice job of it, okay? When I edit this, I'll try to like squeeze it up or speed it up or something so that. Okay, so I'm not unhappy with that. Now, one of the things I'm kind of running into with this is my paint is a little too wet, and so I'm having trouble kind of moving it around, but I wanted to get that particular portion complete. So I'm going to stop myself here, and I'm going to move on to the yellow pear. Okay, so once again, thinking about where this yellow is, it's not a true like sunny, bright lemon yellow. It's kind of a yellow orange. And if we look, you know, kind of straight across, it's going to be blue with just a little bit of violet in it. So let's see, I'm going to. I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to make up some violet so that way I can. Okay, I'm back. I put a little bit better coat of paint on my pear so that way you could see, you know, what I was doing. Okay, so they're on the lighter side, over here on the lighter side, that has more cadmium yellow in it. And on the here on this side, it has more of the yellow ochre. So those two different colors of yellow, one looks darker, one looks lighter. So that's still working with kind of the analogous thing. I haven't introduced any complementary colors yet. By the way, I was going to mention something rather cool. Okay, so we've got this yellow ochre color right here. Some of you, depending on the paint set that you purchased, or you may have, you know, come across this color before. If you keep painting, you certainly will run into these colors. There are a couple of other colors that are really common to see. One is called sienna, and the other is called umber. Okay, and these colors are really old colors, like, you know, like old cave paintings, old. People have been making paintings out of these colors, this sienna and umber and ochre, also red oxide. You know, all of these are naturally occurring minerals in soils, and they have this kind of yellow-brown color to them. And this is the stuff that they were making cave paintings. You know, they're in Lascaux, France, and in Spain. So it's pretty cool to think that we're still using the same paints, you know, all of this centuries and centuries ago, that we're still doing the same stuff. I find that kind of just like a little bonus, okay? So once again, we've got this pair and we're going to introduce some dark color. And at the moment, I've got, I've got my two yellows. I've got a yellow that's kind of light that has the yellow uh, cadmium yellow in it, and I've got the yellow ochre. So to the ochre side, the one that is dark, I'm going to try to add some of this violet. Now remember, violet, just like when we worked with our color chart, violet is a mixture of ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson, that really deep blue, sea blue, and the alizarin crimson is like red wine kind of color. When we did it on our color chart, we put a touch of white in it, but there's no white, used in these paintings, no white, no black. So we're just going to use this dark color. It's so dark. Look how dark it is. It's almost, you can't really see what's going on, and it's really strong, okay? Both for the ultramarine blue and the alizarin crimson, they are very strong on tinting strength, okay? When we're looking at our cadmium colors, this poor little old tube that I have here, it's almost dead. The cadmium colors, on the other hand, they don't have as much tinting strength, but they cover really well. So oftentimes, when we're using this, we're going to see this difference, and it may be a little just annoying at the first before we get used to it, but once we've done it a few times, then we'll get used to it. This is like way too much to try to put on this poor little pear. It'll kill it, okay? So I've got to get most of this off. And to make this dark color, I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow ochre and put it over to one side. I've got a lump here about the size of a pea. And then I'm picking up a little bit of this violet, okay, with no white in it. And it's very tiny, size of a kitchen ant, right? Oh, lovely. It's really difficult for me to try to mix color sitting down. I never do that. Okay, so I've got this really rich kind of brown color. I don't know if you can see that. And so I'm looking here at my brushes, and this is the brush that I had the yellow ochre with. So this is the one I'm going to use. I don't have to clean it or anything. It's okay. And I can see that it's almost like there's a little panel. You guys can see it too from the webcam. You can see that there's this little panel. Okay, so I've got it, nice and blocked in. Keep in mind, when we're painting these things, I give you guys absolutely no points in blending, okay? That's way down the road, okay? Please, I know that you want to blend, but please be very careful in blending, because what can happen is you blend and blend and blend, and pretty soon the whole darn thing is exactly the same color. And so you've lost your value patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this,